Yeah, it definitely comes to a serious game between losing and then obviously wanting to get drafted. Like every single day, you're just like, oh, what's going to happen? Like you're going to get picked up, maybe not. What are you going to do afterwards? And then obviously not getting picked up, I was like, geez, what do I do here?
You played with Harley Reid last year. What was that like playing in a side with someone that is probably the most hyped #1 draft pick of all time? Very special moment on the channel today. I'm joined by VFL star and mid-season draft sensation Oskar Smartt. He is fresh off an unbelievable performance in the Young Gun series, which has rocketed him into draft contention for the mid-season period. Oskar, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
How are you dealing with all the stuff over the last, few weeks and month with the performance from the Young Gun series and kind of the hype around that?
Yeah, it's obviously it's been a bit of a different change to lifestyle. Bit nerve-wracking hearing all about it.
When did you kind of start talks with Essendon, and was it a tough decision to make, or was it pretty much like a VFL side wants me, so I'm going to take that opportunity?
They did actually reach out to me halfway through the season last year. I've been talking to them back and forth during that November period, so the end of season draft. I did say to them that I'd probably come have a look if I didn't make the draft, which I didn't make the draft, so I'll come across. But then, ever since then, everything's just taken place, which is good.
Can you talk a little bit from an on-field perspective, like the step up, maybe week to week as well? Like, what's the difference between playing Coates League footy and VFL?
Yeah, definitely a lot bigger bodies, obviously. Like, you got AFL players that are playing AFL right now. A lot more structure and all that kind of stuff. Like in Pioneers, you just 6-6-6 kind of thing. There was density, so you couldn't really go out the field. Definitely harder to kick goals at the moment, but it's still fun though.
And you've had to move to Melbourne as well. How's that sort of change been for you?
Yeah, moving to Melbourne wasn't too bad. So I moved to Bendigo last year with my uncle. So that was probably worse than moving to Melbourne. But moving to Melbourne, he got all the boys, he'd cook once a week kind of thing. Washing the clothes is still easy at the moment. Cleaning up's probably the hardest part. We just don't clean up as much, but that's good.
You've come on my radar through the Young Gun series. How did all that kind of stuff happen? Because it's a bit of an underground gig, really. I don't think many people outside the industry have really heard of the Young Gun series. How did you get the heads up about it?
Yeah, my name got mentioned by the Young Guns, and everyone was asking me, what's this, what's that? I'm like, I knew it just because of last year, and before that I never knew of it, and I don't know if it started last year or not.
I think it started after COVID. So I talked to Matt O'Connor, who was your coach in that, and he said that I think it started somewhere in COVID, and it wasn't called the Young Gun series before. Maybe it's been going for 2 or 3. Do you know some of the players that have gone on to play AFL from the Young Gun series?
I think Harvey Gallagher from Pioneers did it.
Yep.
I think he did. And then you got Ryan. Ryan from last year that went to West Coast.
Marriage. Yep.
Marriage, that's it.
I think Sam Cloesy played in it as well.
Yeah.
From Gold Coast.
Oh, he might have.
Yeah. But it's definitely it's got a few people going through the AFL for sure.
Yeah, definitely in the mid-season, all that kind of stuff.
How does it work practically in a game like that, where you've sort of got, it's like a representative side, but you almost not really trying to win the game, you're trying to show yourself. Does it get a lot of kind of infighting or anything like that? Does it get competitive?
Yeah, it does get very competitive. It was a lot different than last year with the country and all that kind of stuff. But the first game we definitely went out there to win. It was just the vibe that we had. We just wanted to win. Definitely had fun doing it at the same time. Everyone got a touch of the footy. Everyone did something they wanted to do. If it's kicking 4 goals for our 12 forwards, or the rucks getting taps out and all that kind of stuff. So everyone did their part, which is good. Yeah,
I went to both games, and it looked like there was a good camaraderie between you all.
Yeah, we definitely had a good feeling out there. We were all kind of mates, all knew each other kind of thing. For such a team to get together for not very long, it felt like you've known them for about 6 months, which is probably the best way you can go about it. And then the second game was just on top of that, it was just another level of friendship kind of thing. Everyone just loved each other. was good.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Between the two games, I noticed that I would have thought in the first game, just from watching, that you were kind of more of a small forward in that game. And then in the second game, it seemed like you had a more prominent midfield role. Was that by design? Like, how did that happen?
I'm not sure how I got put in the midfield, but whoever did it, thank you.
Do you speak to recruiters in that sense and they tell you, we want to see you here, or do they speak to the coach? Or
I actually have no clue. I think they might speak to the coach, but I haven't heard much about it. But yeah, it definitely was a small forward at the start. Was playing my role kind of thing. Try to play more of those defensive patterns, stopping like the inside 50 tackles, stopping them from getting it out so fast. And then come across to the second game, and I was playing midfield for the first half, and then a bit of a deep forward in the second half because all the others wanted to get a run. But it's good.
I think the thing that stood out for me watching you play was probably the fact that you could play through the midfield and it looked like you could get your 30 touches, but you could go forward and you look like you had pretty good forward craft. Is that something you've always had, or something you've worked on?
So I actually used to be always a backman. So coming,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in my club football. But coming to Pioneers, I was started in the midfield. I was doing a bit of forward work and all that kind of stuff. Last year I just didn't have that. I just didn't get it really. And then coming to Essendon, I had Blake helping me. I had Trav Cloak, Michael Hurley helping me out with all the forward patterns, and then getting in the midfield, I just kind of said, see ball, get ball. Definitely had a lot better run in the midfield this year than I did last year, which is good.
That's actually astonishing that you've just made that move. That's new.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, nice work. Your performances were absolutely immense in that series. Do you think your VFL exposure, albeit you've only played a few games at the start of this season, do you think that helped going back to that level?
Yeah, 100%. It worked on all the patterns you run. It wasn't so much playing the VFL games, it was just mostly the trainings and all that kind of stuff. At training, everyone's working on their patterns and where to run. I felt like my goal kicking got a lot better since last year. Like set shots, probably my strength. But yeah, definitely had trainings and having meetings with the coaches and all that kind of stuff was definitely probably the reason of how I did it.
When you talk about the patterns, is that sort of to help you sort of get the ball yourself, or is that often just to facilitate for other people running into space and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so you got obviously trying to get the ball yourself, and then if you don't get the ball, being the second option, getting that front and square position, guarding space and all that kind of stuff. How to seal without making it obvious that you're blocking. Just all that kind of stuff.
Just get one over the umpires as well.
Yeah. Sneaking one in.
I want to go back to, I guess, your earliest kind of footy memory, how it all started for you. Do you have a moment you remember how you got introduced to footy? Was it from a young age?
Yeah, so my used to play hockey, so I actually played hockey growing up. I think started about 4 maybe. To be honest, I have no clue. I stopped playing hockey around 8 or 9. I did Auskick and all that kind of stuff. And started playing under 12s. Wasn't really good at the first year. I was a bit scared of it. But then started getting the hang of it. I think the last year, my under 12s, I got the real hang of it. I knew what I was doing. Did interleague and all that kind of stuff. Under 14s, I was bottom age, and I think that's the year it took off really. I started to get the hang of it. Started to kick a lot more goals, even though I was playing half back. I was definitely enjoying it a lot more back then.
Were you kind of dominating it at hockey as well at the same time? Were you pretty good at other sports, or was it?
I wouldn't say dominating, but I was the youngest person coming into this Echuca team, so I moved from Charlton to Echuca. So I used to play Minky, I think it's Minky, in Charlton.
Yeah. I remember that. Minky hockey, yeah.
Yeah. So I played that growing up with all my friends from Charlton. Then moving to Echuca, there was no Minky, so it was just straight hockey. And my first year playing hockey, we won the flag, so I think, that was pretty good. And I don't think that was my last season playing hockey.
Did you play any other sports growing up where you
No, I was mostly just hockey and football.
One thing I remember my uncle saying to me once, he was a state hockey player, and he said he could always navigate space when he played football really well because of his hockey background.
Yeah, I don't think, like for me, I don't think it was that serious in the hockey perspective. I didn't really play hockey as much to realise how to get space and all that kind of stuff, but I think it worked on the footwork and all that kind of stuff.
The in-close kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely helped with all that kind of stuff.
And at what point did you say that it sort of became kind of evident that you were pretty good at footy?
I won the under 14s BNF kind of thing. I don't know.
Was that it back in Echuca?
Yeah, so just outside of Echuca, Leachville Gumbow is my old club. Everyone loves Leachville Gumbow.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, not much people have heard about it, but probably got one of the biggest ovals in Victoria or
Really?
Australia, I think. Yeah.
As in the size of it?
Yeah, between Gumbow, Leachville and Kahuna.
Yeah,
I
nice.
think the biggest ovals. But yeah, so won the under 14s BNF. I don't know if it was my bottom age or top age. I think it might have been top age. We didn't win the flag that year. We got flogged by Rochester. And then coming up to the 18s and then being the bottom age there, was playing halfback. And then I made like the academy. He had under 13s academy, under 14s, under 15s. And then I made the under 16s Pioneers. Played one game there because that was a COVID season. And then made the under 17s, under 18s, but like as a bottom age. Played a few games at the end of the season. And then the 18s, played every game I could. I was injured a few times, so I missed out a few there.
How was the kind of transition? I always sort of wonder this because like football for me, playing it has always been purely fun because I've never kind of stepped up to that next level. You know, I've always been just running around having a kick. And I think to most people, the idea of football is pretty fun. How is changing from it being just fun to then it starts to get serious? You know, you're getting close to being drafted and it's going to become more than that.
Yeah, it definitely comes with a serious game between losing and then obviously wanting to get drafted. Like everyone hates losing, but being at the Pioneers, I think it was just a lot of fun. Like I was with all my mates. Like I had a lot of mates from Echuca, Bendigo, Deniliquin, and then you had the few blokes that come up from Mildura and all that kind of stuff. Like you knew everyone there. But definitely it was definitely nerve-wracking at the end of the year. Like every single day, just like, oh, what's going to happen? Like, you're going to get picked up, maybe not. What are you going to do afterwards? That kind of stuff. And then obviously not getting picked up, I was like, geez, what do I do here? Like I was just overthinking it, I think. But no, it was always fun, always been fun. But just, you got to make it fun. Like,
I was going to say, do you have to actually, is that something you have to work on?
Yeah, I reckon. Just like get to know your teammates, and then when you're going out there, don't overthink it. Don't be nervous the whole time. Like still have fun and still play a serious game, but just don't overthink it. It's the main part.
How has your off-field like professionalism changed in that same sort of time frame, I guess, from realising you're good at footy to it starting to become close to being a career? And then how does that, things like diet, exercise, all that stuff, does it all change?
Yeah, I only started changing my diet and the exercise at the start of this year with the Essendon and all that kind of stuff. Last year I wasn't so big on it. I didn't really hear much about it. It was like one of those things like you didn't really hear about. But then once you heard about it, you're like, oh, might as well keep doing it, like get fitter. The diet and dietitian I spoke to at Essendon helped me with that. We did the skin folds, we did all that kind of stuff. Did like a weekly meal prep and all that kind of stuff. What to have before a game, what to have before training to give you extra energy, like all the carbs and all that kind of stuff. You can have like a little lolly or something, peanut butter on toast, honey on toast, like all that stuff. That only started at the start of this year, I think.
So it's really more something that's happened since you've gone to Essendon.
Gone
into that more professional.
A lot more professional. Pioneers didn't really do much about that, which like it's understandable. No one really heard about it last year. I don't know if they started doing it this year or not. I think it's actually all banned at the moment. Not allowed to do skin folds.
I think so, yeah. There has been a crackdown with the weights and stuff like that too, yeah. Going back to Bendigo, just there, you played with Harley Reid last year. What was that like playing in a side with someone that he's probably the most hyped number one draft pick of all time? How was that?
Yeah, he's always I went to school with him, so everyone knew who Harley was. He's a genuine freak at the sport. Like, just don't know how he does it. It's just good.
He's kind of even done it at AFL level.
Yeah, he's still doing it. It amazes me. But yeah, playing Pioneers with him, like, he was always the best. I was at training, and all you want to do is just don't get stiff armed by him. Just tackle him.
Did you guys, like, as teammates, did you start to kind of learn you guys were better at tackling him and stuff because you knew him better?
Oh, yeah. I think we always expected to get stiff arms. Like, I think everyone expects it, but just it still hits you. But yeah, as soon as he puts that arm up, you just try and smack it out of the way or something.
Was he one that was kind of setting, when you talk about the more professionalism, was he one that was sort of driving it at Bendigo, or was he still pretty relaxed at that stage?
Yeah, like, obviously, like, he was relaxed and then he was still professional at the same time. Like, all the coaches had the professional act and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know, like, I don't think it was, like, unprofessional. Like, everyone was still professional, but just, like, the maturity and all that kind of stuff is a bit different compared to this year, I believe. Yeah, just nothing really big there.
I guess it goes back to what you said before about sort of keeping it fun too.
Yeah, like, last year definitely had a lot of fun. Still acted a bit silly on a good day, but yeah, it's definitely still fun though.
Your draft experience last year, let's just talk about that for a second. So that's obviously a huge moment, the draft night and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What was your sort of expectation going in to the...
So that I've had a lot of talks about that actually. I didn't think I was going to get drafted. I only spoke to the one club. So I wasn't sitting there like, oh yeah, I'm getting drafted here. So yeah, I didn't think I was going to get fully drafted or like even make a VFL team. Like, I was pretty surprised about that. But it was definitely like a shock to me. I was like, well, what do I got to do? And all that kind of stuff. But then hearing from the clubs of why I didn't get selected was a bit disappointing because I moved to Bendigo to help me with all that kind of stuff and it didn't work. But yeah, then coming to Essendon, I've definitely worked on that, all that stuff, like all what the AFL recruiters want. Like, they want to see more professionalism, see more consistency in my football. To watch me like use my strengths in the ability on playing the football game. And like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I wasn't really like, I was heartbroken at the time, but wasn't heartbroken enough to stop playing it. It was just like, I want to get it next year.
Was it kind of, did you have a period straight after where you were, like, I guess it would have pissed you off a bit, but then you sort of...
Yeah. I got to say, it only lasted for about a week.
Yeah.
I was like pissed off for that 1 week. I was like, maybe I can get the rookie list kind of thing. But once that was all over, I was like, I'll just get mid-season or end of season next year. I was just going to work off what I could to get that.
And you've gone sort of straight back into those things that they told you were reason. Can you, looking back on the 2023 season, do you think there were situations where things didn't go right for you, like on the field and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think most of it was on the field. I just couldn't seem to play the football that I wanted. And then I played about 2-3 games of the football that I was actually able to do something. But then when it came to like outside of football, I think I was just a bit silly when it comes to all that kind of stuff. Definitely wish I could have taken it back and rethought of the things that I've done. But no,
I think that's the thing though, isn't it? Like, not everybody at that age, not everyone's
thinks
ready.
about it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
it's different. I absolutely wouldn't have been, not that I was ever going to be playing AFL anyway, but I wouldn't have been ready to play at 17, 18.
Yeah.
So the mid-season draft, pre-Young Gun series, where were you at with the mid-season draft, and how much has that changed with the Young Guns?
I I actually have no clue, to be honest with you. Obviously, I think the game before I played Young Guns, I kicked 4 at the Marvel Stadium against the Footscray.
That's right, that was against Footscray too, the undefeated.
The top team,
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know if that did anything. I actually have no clue when all this mid-season stuff come getting up. I think Young Guns was a big decider, really, on like where I'm at and all that kind of stuff. Not playing so much structure, but just trying to win the ball and like use my teammates as like get them as much touches as well at the same time. So I think that was probably the main part, probably Young Guns.
Had you, in that Young Guns game, you looked like, especially when you played the pure midfield role, you looked pretty prolific. It was sort of, I don't know what the disposals were in the end, but you were kind of high disposal, very high impact. Did you have any games like that in your draft year for Bendigo?
Nah, I'd never had I didn't have that much disposals in the draft year. I always kicked 3 goals. That was my max goals.
Sort of 3 goals, 10 touches kind of a game.
3 goals, 15, 16 kind of stuff. I think I played Gippsland. I think it was 3 goals, 16, and then Bush Rangers it was 3 goals, 18. Like it just couldn't get past that mark. I don't know, just didn't have it in me or something.
That's playing forward though, right?
Yeah, I was playing a bit of forward and mid there. But yeah, I think it was a bit just unfit last year. I've definitely done a lot to get myself fitted this year.
That was going to be my next question. Do you think the touches and getting more prolific, is that more of a fitness thing and getting around the ground, or do you think it's more like from stoppages? Is that where you've worked on that?
It's a bit of both, really. Like you got that inside 50 stoppages. Obviously try and do my best to keep it in, like try and hold the ball up in the tackle kind of stuff. Try and smother the football so you can either take it out of bounds or get it and kick it up in the square kind of thing. But I've got to say, like yesterday in the wet, it was shocking. Like every 2 seconds I was on the ground trying to find this football. But I think having my fitness up, I could still run out the rest of the game. Like last year, I probably would have died, to be honest.
Are the quarters a bit longer in VFL too?
Yeah,
right?
a lot longer.
Yeah.
So Pioneers, like Coates Talent League's 25 flat, I think.
Yeah.
Is it? I think it's.
It is. Yeah. No time on.
Yeah. So that we got time on, I think, and I think we played 30-minute quarters yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, like
what do you prefer? You know, there's actually that argument. It's been in the kind of AFL circles this week. Yeah. Like other quarters, they're kind of considering like taking the longer
quarters.
What do you think?
I think it makes it interesting
from a spectator's point of view.
Like, I feel like as if it's in a close game and you got the time on and all that kind of stuff. Like you're guessing when the sign's going to go. So if it's a close game and you're like a point up or something like that, you don't know if you've got 10 more minutes left in you.
You like the unknown.
Yeah, like a bit mystery kind of thing.
Yep.
So I feel like that's a bit interesting, especially when it comes to like Hawthorn beating Port last night by that one goal.
Yeah, everyone's just guessing when the siren's going to go. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's interesting, I believe.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing from the from the national draft last year that you've learnt coming into this mid-season draft, or even the national draft at the end of this year?
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely just like not gonna like put 100% on it. Like you might get told a lot of things by a lot of people. Like you're getting drafted, but at the moment, like I'm not Harley Reid. Like I'm not getting number 1 or anything like that. Yeah, like I was hopefully when I get drafted in the mid-season. But yeah, if I don't get drafted in the mid-season, I'll try my best to get the end of season and just keep going forward since then.
More just concentrating on
playing football at the moment. Yeah.
Yep. As a player, what do you think your biggest selling point is?
I reckon my kicking's probably up there for
shooting at goal or field kicking.
A bit of both, to be honest. Like at the moment, I've kicked probably 3 out in the full going for a set shot, but yeah, definitely say my kicking's probably up there. I'm trying to work on like that break and tackles and all that kind of stuff. I was a bit nervous trying to do it in the VFL. Like they're a lot bigger, I'll probably get thrown around, but I tried it a fair bit yesterday. I got a few holding the balls and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like I can do it. It's just...
Do you have the confidence at VFL level to sort of, with the coaches and stuff, is it harder to go, when you get caught holding the ball, do you get kind of the license, from the coaches to kind of go for it?
So every coach says, like, you got to drive your legs through that, drive your legs corridor and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think, like, it's not, like, it's getting to hold the ball, but I never had the confidence to take on the tackles, like, at the start of this year. I just didn't know if I was just going to get pinched straight away or something like that. But then getting out of that shy box kind of thing was probably the best thing I could have done. Like that Young Guns, I think it was, where I took on a few tackles and I'd get out, or I'd just try and run straight. Didn't always work, but did something.
When you say the shy box, do you just mean sort of coming out of your...
Yeah, kind of shell, like all that kind of stuff. Like I was just a new team, a new environment. Like
you don't want to hide.
Yeah. Especially when the mid-season comes so fast. Like I wanted to get out of that shell so fast. Took a few games to happen, really.
Yep. Is that something, would you say you've grown from Bendigo, or is it just the new team factor, coming new faces?
I think definitely going from Bendigo. Last year I didn't really take on as much tackles as I wanted. Like I didn't use my strengths as I could last year. But at the start of this year, I definitely feel like I'm starting to use my strengths into my game, which is a lot better.
As a player that's, you've dealt with that sort of adversity from being knocked back from the draft, you've bounced back this season and had an amazing start to the season. What sort of advice would you give to other young players that are coming through that are in, similar prospects to you?
Yeah, like I think everyone's a bit different on the way how they want to play their game and all that kind of stuff. But I just feel like overthinking is probably the biggest one that you don't want to do. I reckon the more you overthink it, the more it's just going to keep staying in your head. And then when you're playing football, you want to be thinking about the football, but then it's always in the back of your head there. So that one is probably a big one. Your daily lifestyle, make sure you got like a good routine and all that kind of stuff. There's a few games there where I didn't have a really routine, and then it definitely showed in my game. Last year, if I was not going good at school that week, I wouldn't play a good game at footy that weekend. So that was definitely an eye-opener to me, realising that. But then, not giving up is probably a big one. Like, I know I'm good mates with Marty Hall. I don't know if you know him, but he's had injuries and he just keeps getting injuries, but he's never given up. So I definitely look up to that as a point of view, because like you can still make it. Like, don't give up.
Yeah, I know a guy at the same town that I'm from, Brody Mychek, playing for Collingwood at the moment. He was one that he didn't get drafted for years, went to I think it was Port Melbourne. He was playing in the VFL. Yeah. Ended up playing in a premiership for Collingwood.
Yeah, I didn't actually hear about that, actually. I thought he just got drafted.
No. So he was he didn't make it to the AFL until he was 26.
Jesus.
So, unbelievable story.
And he's a star now.
Yeah, playing unbelievable footy. Well, I think we'll have a wrap there for that interview. Thanks so much for your time, Oscar.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, and all the best with the mid-season draft, and of course the national if it doesn't happen at the mid-season draft. But you've got a big future, I'd say.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, have a good one.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.